What's going on, guys? My name is Trevor. Welcome back to the channel. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 made its way to theaters this past weekend, making it the 5th MCU trilogy. So today we're ranking all 5 MCU trilogies from the worst to the best. Let me know your ranking of all 5 of these trilogies down below in the comment section. Which one's your favorite? Which one's your least favorite? Leave a like for me as well. Hit the subscribe button and notification bell. Let's get into this ranking. So at number 5, pretty easily, is the Ant-Man trilogy. Now, I think the first Ant-Man is a very underrated MCU movie. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is an overhated MCU movie, but Ant-Man and the Wasp is just one of my least favorite MCU movies. It never did anything for me, especially after seeing Avengers: Infinity War. I wanted so much with this movie, and that's on me, because why would they give us 2 absolutely fantastic movies in the same year? Just why would they do that? First, Ant-Man is so much fun. Paul Rudd was just born to play this role. He's such a lovable, likable character. And Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I think, is another fun Ant-Man adventure. I've only seen it the one time. I don't really plan on going back to rewatch this one all too often, but it's definitely a middle-of-the-road MCU movie. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is bottom. I think Ant-Man is closer to top 10, but Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is right in the middle. I'm very surprised that the Ant-Man has its own trilogy, but I'm here for it. It's in last pretty comfortably. At number 4, I have the Iron Man trilogy. The first Iron Man is absolutely fantastic. It's arguably a top 5 MCU movie. It started off what we know and love as the MCU, and Robert Downey Jr. talk about a redemption arc for this actor, because RDJ just turns in the performance of a lifetime with the first Iron Man, and this movie is just epic, and a movie you just don't know exactly how it's going to work. If you go back to 2008, no one knew the whole plan. No one knew what the MCU was going to go to become everything we know and love. So going into this movie, I didn't know what to expect, but I just came out loving it. And seeing Iron Man in the cave making his own suit, seeing this billionaire playboy philanthropist get brought down to earth, get humbled, and really see what he's made of, it's inspiring. And then you have Iron Man 2, which I don't think is Jon Favreau's fault, the director of this film. I definitely think that it was the studio's fault. They wanted to turn this movie around in like 2 years, which is really hard with all the action and big budgets that these movies have, how much CGI they have. So Iron Man 2 has a villain in Whiplash that you just don't really see all that often, so it definitely made it for a just mediocre, if not bad, MCU movie. I haven't rewatched Iron Man 2 in probably a decade. Probably should get on that, but Iron Man 2 definitely is like the black sheep of the Iron Man movies, and Iron Man 3, I really enjoy. I definitely think it has some pacing issues, and Shane Black, the director of this film, trying to take away Iron Man's powers, it's like, what? What were your idea? What was your thought with that? But Iron Man 3, I think is very overhated. I think if I had to pick like a couple like overhated MCU movies, this one would definitely be on that list, as well as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But with Iron Man 3, there's a lot of stakes here, and unfortunately you do have some of the MCU problems with the villains, and I wish Jon Favreau was here to direct this movie as well, because Shane Black, like, I don't know who greenlit this to take away the heart reactor route and act like Tony Stark's retiring as Iron Man. I never understood the whole thought process behind that, and the villain is just and you give Pepper powers that we never see again. Pepper's powers are gone forever, so I never understood some of the creative decisions taken by Shane Black and the studio at this time, but Iron Man trilogy still overall is pretty enjoyable to watch. At number 3, from this point on, I would say I love these 3 trilogies. Like, I absolutely love them with my whole heart. And at number 3 is the Captain America trilogy. That might be kind of a hot take, but the reason this one's at number 3 and not higher is because of the first film. I'm not a big fan of the Captain America: The First Avenger. I would actually say this is one of my least favorite MCU movies, like bottom 10 for sure. We're in 30-something MCU movies now. Captain America: The Winter Soldier is one of the best spy espionage thrillers of the last 20 years, and Captain America: Civil War is a top 5 MCU movie for me. I absolutely love this. It's obviously like an Avengers 2.5, but Civil War makes this trilogy really what it is, because it's every character you know and love, and now they're fighting against each other. It should have been called Avengers: Civil War, because Captain America is not like the main character throughout this movie, but hey, who's counting? But Civil War is some of the best action you've ever seen, and the emotion in this movie. I'm sorry, Tony. He was my friend. So was I. The last hour of this movie hits so absolutely hard, and Black Panther gets introduced. You get the first time Tom Holland Spider-Man. This movie gives us so much. It's so amazing. And you also have Captain America: The Winter Soldier, one of the best sequels inside the MCU. Captain America: The Winter Soldier is just a spy thriller, a little bit more of a slower burn. The Winter Soldier isn't on screen till probably almost an hour throughout the film, but The Winter Soldier is just epic, and it's so different. It's a little bit darker, and Captain America gets his butt whooped by Bucky in his film, and you see that his friend is still alive from Captain America: The First Avenger. So Winter Soldier just hits those emotional notes, hit that spy notes really well. The first time we ever really seen the Russo brothers, besides you, me, and Dupree, but who's counting that one? Captain America: The First Avenger. I've only seen this movie one time all the way through. A couple like clips here and there I've watched, but never been a big Captain America First Avenger fan. Never want to go back and rewatch it. I like the beginning of him becoming Captain America, becoming something more than he is, but just fast forwarding through like World War II, it never worked for me. I did not really care for Red Skull as a villain, but Winter Soldier and Civil War, absolutely fantastic. At number 2 is the Spider-Man Trilogy. Spider-Man Homecoming, I think, is the most underrated movie inside the MCU. This is one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. It's a top 7 MCU movie for me in general. I love Homecoming, and Keaton as a villain, he's one of the best MCU villains. You could argue he's the best because of his motivation, his why. It easily has one of my favorite plot twists of all time when Michael Keaton answers that door. You're just jaw dropped to the floor. You're not expecting it. I don't care who you are. You weren't expecting it. Then you have Far From Home, and they're like in Europe, and this one did not hit hard for me. I've never been a big Far From Home fan. A big part of that is because of Mysterio, but when you watch No Way Home, you like Mysterio a little bit more because everything he does in this movie obviously transcends into Spider-Man No Way Home. But something about it he felt like a wannabe Tony Stark. I wanted to absolutely love this movie. It came out right after Endgame. The movies that come out after the big ones, Infinity War and Endgame, Ant-Man and the Wasp came out after Infinity War, Spider-Man Far From Home came out after Endgame. Those didn't hit that hard for me like I wanted them to, but you have Spider-Man No Way Home, and a lot of people will say it's this nostalgia dump. You see Toby, you see Andrew, and while I kind of do agree with it, we getting that nostalgia jump is everything and more you need with this film. After rewatching this movie about 7 times, I've really realized that you can kind of fast forward to when Toby and Andrew finally get on screen, because the beginning is kind of just stupid joke after stupid joke with no real plot point, kind of just basic direction, basic storyline. But when Toby and Andrew come on screen, I will never forget that moment in theaters. The entire theater screamed, erupted, popcorn was flying. It was one of the greatest moments ever for Marvel fans. Spider-Man No Way Home, I sound like I'm hating on it. Just on rewatch, Spider-Man No Way Home does have more problems. Still top probably 8, 10, 5 MCU movie for me. I absolutely love the movie. Just when Toby and Andrew get on screen, that's when you get locked in. But my favorite MCU trilogy is none other than the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. I love all 3 of these movies. All 3 of these movies damn near in my top 10 ranking of the MCU. The first Guardians had a bunch of misfit characters on screen together. No one knew how it was going to work. And after seeing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, this one hits that much more on rewatch. All these characters put together on screen. You have a talking raccoon. You have a big dude who's Drax the Destroyer. You have a tree who's talking. Who knew this movie was going to work as well as it did? With a fantastic soundtrack. Just I applaud James Gunn for making a Star Wars type movie inside the MCU. Then you have Guardians 2. Again, I'll put this on that overhated list. I've been a big fan of this movie since day one of seeing it in the theaters. I love Baby Groot. I love the vibes of this movie. I think Ego is a fantastic villain, a top 10 MCU villain for me. I don't understand a lot of the problems with this movie. I do think it has a couple pacing issues, but other than that, I think this movie is just a ton of fun. It's one of those movies you can kind of just relax to, and the ending with Yondu, he may be a father boy, but he ain't your daddy. I'm sorry, that hits really hard. I absolutely love it. And then you have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is just taking the world by storm. I had chills just thinking about it. The creative decisions that James Gunn took throughout this film are nothing short of extraordinary. It put the biggest smile on my face. It's everything and more I could have wanted inside an MCU movie. I loved everything this movie had to offer. No Sleep Till Brooklyn, and the dog days are over. When you see this movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because it just brings out the emotion. I'm literally getting chills thinking about it. I might cry if I keep talking about it. But Guardians of the Galaxy is easily my favorite trilogy inside the MCU. One of my favorite trilogies of all time, for that matter. Let me know your ranking of all 5 MCU trilogies down below in the comment section. Leave a like, hit that subscribe button, notification bell. Thank you guys so much for watching and being here. Lots more content coming this week about Marvel, and I'm excited for all of it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.